football around the corner, time to start building up that bankroll. And we want to help by slashing the cost of all daily picks packages priced at $25 or more, including 5% best bets through the end of July. This amazing promotion runs from Tuesday, July 12th to midnight on Sunday, July 31st, and drops the pricing down to $25 daily packages for $12.50, 29 daily combo packages for $14.50, and $35 5% best bets for $17.50. But even better, this is the perfect time to take advantage of our one-day all-access pass. This package locks in the handicapper of your choice for one whole day for only $39, including when they have a 5% top play that usually sells for $35. But during our 50% slash promotion, you get a one-day all-access for only $19.50. We know this business is loaded with competitors and copycats, and we are very proud and extremely excited to be one of, if not, the premier sports betting information provider in North America. Our special discount pricing goes live on Tuesday, runs through the end of the month, does not require a coupon, and is available just by going to your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo Handicappers homepage right now.
To prop it up, happy Friday. Everyone knows Friday starts the weekend, and we are here to make your weekend a profitable one through the props betting market. Joining me today is Andrew McInnis from WagerTalk.com. Matt Josephs is off. But exciting news for Matt. His college football articles have finally come out. You can find those on athlonsports.com. A great read if you're looking for college football futures. Andrew and I, we're going to go over a lot of things here. We're going to go over some NFL. We got a fun game we're going to do with some NFL team futures. We're going to talk some CFL, a little bit of golf, Formula One, and then we're going to finish off with our prop bet of the week. So, Andrew, how's the last week been for you? We're kind of in the dog days of summer and in the betting schedule, but still a lot of money to be made, still a lot of profits out there on the board.
Yeah, so far, Andy, I'm really enjoying baseball post All-Star break. I have a 5% play going tonight in the MLB, and it's been a really good run with those. I believe 9-2 run or 9-3 run in the MLB with the 5% plays. So, I just think that it's obviously not just right away in the All-Star break you find this out, but really over the next few weeks, you kind of find out some teams you're going to bet on more consistently and teams you're going to bet against more consistently. And one thing with me in the MLBs this year is that I really didn't have that, in the first half of the season. I didn't have those one or two teams, Andy, where I was consistently betting. I probably have bet more of a variety this year than I ever have. Usually I am the kind of guy that finds a couple teams and I'm backing them or I'm fading them. But I think, during the second half of the season, I'll start to do that a lot more, start to pick on some teams and stuff like that. And with the CFL, I'm realizing right now, totals have been my strong suit, but really, as far as the sides goes, just getting the best of those numbers. Last week, it was probably one of the best, quote unquote, CLV I ever had in my life. I had +6 in a game where that team ended up closing as favorites by -2.5. So that was kind of fun, but we're staying busy. We're grinding away with the NFL work and looking forward to, kind of all this stuff coming up next. So as much as we're really trying to enjoy our summer and have some fun at the same time, you kind of know what's coming up. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So as we're here and we're calling it the dog days of summer, let's be honest, we're about to get slapped hard in the face in the next week, really, with all kinds of stuff. But this is what we love. It's what we do. And how's everything going with you?
It's going really good. UFC has been great to us. We're on an 8-0 run in UFC. We got a 5% play that's up right there. We got a 5% NFL play for week one. Today's a great day, guys. Day passes are still $19.50. So for less than $20, you can get a full day pass. Andrew's got a 5% MLB. He's got a big play in CFL. So for less than $20, you can just go grab that at WagerTalk.com. That applies to any of your favorite handicappers, myself included. My 5% UFC is up, 5% NFL for week one. It's a really, really great day or day two because, August starts here on Monday. So if you want to go grab a day pass, you get all of these best bets for less than $20. Very affordable and a great way to get that bankroll started off on the right way for this weekend. So go grab that, both Andrew and myself at WagerTalk.com. You mentioned getting slapped in the face. It's crazy. 1 week away from the Hall of Fame NFL game, and it's pretty much officially NFL season. So what Andrew and I have decided to do for today is we each picked a couple of teams. We don't know what the other person has picked, and we're going to present them to the other person and go over their win totals and just get gut reactions on what we think. So, Andrew, why don't you go first? Give me one team that you had selected. I'll tell you what I think right off the bat, and we'll see what the win total comes up with.
Okay, Andy. Well, I want to just start this off because I read the comments and I look on Twitter and I love the following we have here on our show. And I'm looking really forward to the NFL season coming up. And I want to make it very clear that I was a little bit confused with the question that you asked last week. And it was very apparent that I was about the whole, which team that's, probably going to come second place, could come first place in their division. What do you like for the juicy odds? And somebody said, wow. Everybody looked at Andrew with a straight face after he said the Miami Dolphins. And I was like, you know what? At least Andy said, like, hey, there could be an injury or two. There could be something that happens. But I want to know, are you buying in to, the Tua talk right now? Are you buying into this Miami Dolphins team? I want to know your thoughts on the Miami Dolphins win total right now at 8.5.
Okay, the Miami Dolphins. This is a good one. I think Tua kind of got. I think we know who he is. I think we know what he is. I do think he took a little bit too much scrutiny over his long ball. I mean, who was his long ball threat last year? Who do you have that was really a premier stretch the field? I think he did what they asked him to do, which was complete short passes to Jalen Waddle, which is complete short passes to Gesicki. They had next to no run game. I like where they're headed, but I think I don't know what to expect from Tyreek Hill. I think a lot of people think Tyreek Hill, they picture those really long passes in Kansas City, but a lot of Tyreek Hill production came yards after the catch, and I think that's what Miami is going to do with them. I think their offense is going to be much better. Tyreek is just going to open up so many things. I expect a big year from Waddle just because he's going to be able to stretch the field and there's going to be a lot of wide open things. So I think the offense is going to be able to move the ball. Obviously, they get New England twice. New England's defense is going to be good. Buffalo is going to be really tough to, get some wins out of. But then, they get the Jets. So 8.5. So I'm going to pull up their schedule here. I think that number is set pretty good. I kind of like them. I'm a little bit higher on them. So they start. Wow. They start brutal schedule. New England, Baltimore, Buffalo, Cincinnati. That's pretty tough. But then they get the Jets. They have the Vikings, the Steelers. They do get the Lions and the Bears, who I think are going to be absolutely terrible this year. They get Cleveland. They get Houston, San Francisco, the Chargers, Buffalo again, Green Bay, New England, and New York. I think their schedule's tough. I think they're going to be better. I think they come in right around 8 wins, maybe 7 wins, just because of the schedule. They got a tough division outside of the Jets. And then, getting Green Bay, getting the Chargers. I'm not that high on San Francisco, but I do like them. I like Minnesota. Pittsburgh's always going to be good. I'm coming on the under, just barely on the Dolphins. I think they get to 7 or 8 wins. And, yeah, they're going to need a lot of help. A Josh Allen injury, something like that. I don't see them as a wild card team. I think they're still a year away before they're truly contenders. Not a big believer in the run game or the defense right now. So slight lean to the Dolphins under.
Good stuff. There's lots of quote for quote like swing games that they'll have to come out on top in order to hit this win total. There's no doubt about that. There's not 9 games where you and I are looking at their schedule and saying win, 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 right?
Exactly.
There are several games that they'd have to pull out and be competitive with, that might surprise some people, or some games as underdogs and win outright, so to speak. But, I think it's when you look at that schedule, I think that they're a team that I actually don't mind starting with some tougher teams like that. I think that a lot of times with exhibition for teams or whether it's, I think back to college. How many times do college teams go around the country and play against teams that are way worse than them to try and get their confidence up before the season starts? And then they play their first game of the year against a really good team and they're like, whoa, we thought we were way better than we are. I actually like when teams in all sports start their seasons off against quality opponents. It's actually nice when in the middle of the season, that's when you kind of have that cushion against some opponents you think you can beat. So, from what I've been told by athletes I've spoken to and a few of my friends, I think that that's the toughest part of the season is that middle of the pack when it's, you're not near the end, but you're not kind of fresh into the season. So maybe having a few games that are a little bit tougher to start the season could be a really good test for them and let them kind of know what kind of team they are.
All right. So what did you have them under or over?
I had them over.
Oh wow, I love when we disagree because that means one of us is way better than the other one. No, I'm just kidding. All right, first team.
We always say on Puck Time, Andy, there's no point in coming on and all of us being on the same page. I mean, that's just not fun.
It's boring. All right, I'm gonna throw out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to you. I wanted to go with a high win total. They had a huge injury yesterday. Their center is now, probably out for the year. So we got Brady. We got questions at the wide receiver position. Their over-under is 11.5 wins. Obviously, their division stinks. What do you think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Yeah. So first of all, I'll take a look at their division, and everybody thinks Tom Brady coming back. They bring in Julio. There's always going to be able to find a way. But is this a team that's going to be able to put up the wins like they did last year? I wanted to point out because I had this written down. Actually, I'm happy you chose this. Where was it here? Yeah, last year they had the 29th ranked schedule. With opponents finishing with a combined 126 and 145 record the year before. This season's a little bit different. What is it? 154 and 134 and 1. That's the record in 2021 of their opponents this year. So that's a big difference and a big change. And so for everybody betting these win totals, you have to be aware of these changes in the schedules that they're playing. And I think things are going to be tougher for them this year. I think that they're going to lose some close games. I think there might not be as many weapons. And, I don't want to get memed by saying this, and I don't want to get, just put on, frozen cold takes here. But if there's even a couple games where that offensive line is just not protecting Brady as much as he'd like, I'm not saying he's going to get sacked and get, things are going to happen to him. He's going to get banged up. But if he doesn't have that time to make his reads enough, I don't know if they have as many weapons this year to get it done and put up those monster points. And they'll be relying heavily on their defense. So I'm actually going to go under on this big number because I take a look at their schedule. It's a lot harder. It doesn't start off very easy. And, if you don't have that perfect start you start to say, what kind of games are we looking to win here? Maybe we should try and, run the ball more and not, not throw the ball as much. And they're going to result in having these lower scoring games, I think. And it might surprise people this year. I actually, when you're looking at the under quite a bit for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this year, whether it's, props for certain guys, and it'll be a spread out offense, but I don't think they're going to be going deep as much this year. You think back to Tom Brady and how everybody said his weakness was not really having a big arm. And then what does he do last year, Andy? He's throwing the ball deep all the time. But this year, I really think there will be more of a manage the clock type of offense with Brady, utilize everybody, but not going deep as much. And you talk about the offensive line, lots of pressure on them to get it done. So I'm going on the under, and a lot of it is based on the schedule I've seen here for the Bucs and their opponents they're playing compared to last season. I mean, you got to admit that's a big difference in strength of schedule going from 29 to now playing, teams that did fairly well last year.
I agree with the under. I think I think these days whenever you sign Julio Jones, that's a surefire sign things aren't going well for your team. So a lot of questions. It's such a huge number. I'm with you. So all right, what's your next team?
And I gotta say real quick, Teddy talked about on WagerTalk yesterday about beat writers in camp. just making sure that you're not buying into hype. For all of us out there that watch just like whether it's Instagram or YouTube or Twitter clips, you're not going to see the clips of Julio not catching a pass from Brady. We're going to see the ones in the end zone in training camp where he caught the one-hander, where he circled around and jumped over the corner. So let's not buy into all these highlight clips we see at training camp of all these receivers with new teams, because it's not like we're going to see highlight clips of them doing something bad. These clips we're going to see online are all good clips. So,
well, you're going to see clips of him holding his hamstring in week 2. So we'll wait for that clip. All right, what's your next one to give me? What's the next team we're looking at here?
I wanted to ask you about the Arizona Cardinals. I want to see your thoughts on them. They're kind of in the media right now. Everybody's talking about Kyler. I find it hilarious that he had that in his clause that he has to like.
They took it out last night.
And then they took it out. Yeah, they took it out. Like, no, that was too embarrassing. That was too embarrassing for him. We got to take it out. So, what do you think about this team? Are they going to be electric? Are they going to be putting up points on the board? How's their defense going to fare? What are your thoughts on this team and their win total?
I like the Cardinals. I like where they're positioned at. I like that they got Marquise Brown. That's going to be a really good addition for the first few weeks. And then when DeAndre Hopkins comes back, those are some pretty legit weapons that they have. Their offensive line was decent. I like their defense. I like them to go over. They play everyone in their division tough. Seattle, I think, is going to be one of the worst 2 or 3 teams in the league. So there's 2 wins. They're going to play the Rams. I think the Rams regress a little bit. They've lost a lot of guys. San Francisco, I think, is not going to be nearly as good with Trey Lance as quarterback. You look at their schedule, a lot of winnable games on this schedule. They start off with Kansas City. They start off week 2 with Las Vegas, then the Rams, and then you go, Carolina, Philadelphia, Seattle, New Orleans, Minnesota, Seattle again. There's a lot of winnable games right in there, and then they get the Rams and the Chargers, but then New England, Denver, Tampa, Atlanta, San Francisco. I think the schedule sets up well. I think their division is weaker. I'm not nearly as high on the Rams or the 49ers as I was last year on them. I think those 2 teams take a step back. Kyler's got another year of experience. Hopefully he knows how to protect himself a little bit more and to stay healthy. I like him. I like the continuity with them. They've kind of kept most of their main pieces. Don't forget about Zach Ertz. It's still there. That's a safety valve for Kyler. I like that they got the contract done and out of the way. We don't have that distraction, hanging over their heads. If anybody's going to study film now, it's him. like to put that story to bed.
Yeah.
So
we'll see it all over social media.
It's terrible. So
we'll see pictures of him taking selfies of him studying. Hey, just so you guys know, I'm not playing Fortnite. I am studying. But is it morally bad for me to say that I shouldn't even say this, but I worry about this team. If some teams where they could have 1 or 2 injuries, Andy, where I say, you know what, depth is fine. Like right now in the CFL, I'm talking about the Winnipeg Blue Bombers quite a bit, how they pretty much had a key player from each position go down, and their depth is so strong, they're able to overcome that and win games. And of course, it's accounted for in the point spreads and such. But with a team like Arizona, if they're healthy, I think they can be a super strong team. If they lose 1 or 2 key pieces, I feel like a lot of parts start to fall down. I don't know if I could be comfortable with them. If I start seeing 1 or 2 big names go out, I don't know if I trust them versus other teams I think kind of overcome that.
Yeah, I agree. Injuries, you never know. There's always teams that are snake bitten with injuries, and then there are other teams where you go the whole season, you go, my God, did they have anybody get hurt? How did all their guys play? So it's impossible to predict. It's hard to take that into consideration. So just thinking they make it through the season healthy, I like them to go over. I think 8.5 is very attainable. That's I don't like to take a whole lot of overs for season win totals just because of what we talked about with injuries. One injury to the quarterback and that over's completely sunk. But if I was looking at over team totals, Arizona is one that I would like. Love that 8.5 number, reasonable juice, manageable schedule. So I would go over there. All right, I'm going to go with another team that now this team has shuffled it up quite a bit. Let's talk the Kansas City Chiefs. They lose Tyreek Hill. Their over/under is 10.5 wins. The division seemingly got a lot tougher. So, Andrew, what do you think, and what do you expect from the Kansas City Chiefs this year?
Yeah, I mean, I love how you didn't give me any smaller numbers. I guess I didn't give you any ones
I went high
too small of
numbers
numbers. I
today.
wish one
Yeah,
of us picked like a 6 or a 6.5, but
the
we'll
Bears.
try that next time. There's lots of weeks left to
Okay.
talk about that. But you know what, Andy? Once again, I'm going to look towards the under. I like trying to convince when I look at these big numbers, everything has to add up perfectly for me to look at an over, and I know these numbers are high for a reason. You look at the Chiefs, what they're capable of, what they've done, the amount of wins they've had over the past couple of years here, but there has been lots of changes. But you hit it right on the head as far as what you mentioned there is the rest of their division, with the Broncos, their over under win total being 10, the Raiders 8.5, obviously being with the Chargers at 10. I think they're going to take another huge step. There's just a lot of talent on that team, but of course there's some new pieces. You miss Tyreek, and I think that's going to be huge for them not having him around, because it takes away that deep threat. I really think it does. They obviously have several other options, but he was that main guy. And let's be honest, last year even they found themselves coming back in certain games. They found themselves needing that big 40-yard catch to get them back into a game, or to get that insurance touchdown, so to speak. So I feel like, their defense is going to have to come up clutch, and I don't know if they can in some games. And I feel like there's lots of talent kind of spread around them right now. Taking a look at their schedule, I really think that number is just a little bit too high. Let's take a look at their schedule, Andy. See how they start here.
Tough
Cardinals,
schedule.
Chargers, Colts. It's not a great start. And I don't want to be a hypocrite, because I literally said I don't mind teams starting with a tough one. But with a team like this, with this high of a win total, Cardinals, Chargers, Colts, Bucks, Raiders, Bills, like, it's not easy. And there's lots of tough games built in there. And this is a high win total. And like I said, when you have a win total that's this high, you need every single thing to go right for you. No injuries, great pass protection. You need someone else to step up, and Tyreek Hill's replacing. And I just think it'll be really tough for them to get into it. They're going to be a solid team. They're going to pull off some great wins. But I'll tell you what, ATS wise as well, they're going to be involved in a lot closer of football games than I think we saw them in last year. So we'll see what happens when they're coming from behind. We'll see what happens when they're driving for the win. I know what they're capable of. I know they're a solid team, but they've got a lot of talent around them now in their division, and really just in their schedule this year. I like how you gave me two big numbers, Andy, and I went under on both of them.
I love it. I love it. Yeah,
Are you with me?
It's yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. Absolutely. So, guys, don't forget, everything can be found on WagerTalk.com. Andrew's got a MLB 5% play, as well as a big bet in CFL going tonight. Day passes are still less than $20 for the rest of the month of July. Only got a couple days. I got a 5% UFC play that is up, as well as a 5% MLB play today, NFL Week 1. Grab a day pass, guys. That's the best way to get all of those best bets. You can get two big bets from Andrew McInnis or myself. Grab both of them. They're half price. Why not? So both those can be found at WagerTalk.com. All right, guys, we got our bet of the week coming up at the end of the show, but we do want to touch on a few other sports. So, Andrew, bring us up to speed on CFL. I feel like this is a really good source for profits this year. People are probably missing out on it. I encourage you guys to get involved in CFL. There's some really, really good prices and some good numbers. So talk to us a little bit about CFL and some of the props that you're seeing right there.
Thanks, Andy. Well, first of all, I just wanted to say that at the start of the year in the prop market for the CFL, I was recommending mostly for people to look at the big name guys, the guy that rightfully so had the highest receiving yards number or receptions number. What I've noticed is that the bookmakers have just put those numbers up just too high, Andy. They're just saying, okay, you know what? Everybody was going for these top tier guys. We're going to jack that number up and see if they'll keep going towards it. So what I've done now, hop on Twitter, hop on the team website, hop on RotoWire, anywhere you want to look. Take a look at some of the guys that are down in the depth chart that are the second or third options. We're getting 20 and a half receiving yards, 30 and a half receiving yards, numbers like that with a few of these guys that might be, decided on 2 catches. That's one thing I've noticed right now in the CFL with the prop betting market, where at the start of the year, I was just taking the top guy and say, okay, receptions, receiving yards, this guy's going to carry the load. It's changed quite a bit. The secondary guys are getting it done. And also looking at teams that utilize the clock. Some teams, they march the field, but they're throwing bombs every play. In the CFL, especially being a 3-down sport, some teams just don't waste any time. Some teams that also have a great run game and pass game together, they can do that. But if you just have a great pass game, you got to move the ball up the field. You're looking at, taking those big guys. But if you're looking at a team that utilizes the clock, I look towards those secondary options. But I wanted to mention, Andy, real quick, man, just the fact that we are seeing the West absolutely dominate the East. And I know I've talked about this already here on the show, but I wanted to mention to people the BC Lions right now are at plus 400 to win the Grey Cup. And, you take a look at the odds for the other teams around them. And, we got St. Peter's at plus 400, the Argos 7-1, Saskatchewan 8-1. But right now, from what I've seen, and when I take a look at the schedule for them coming up here, the BC Lions, I think, are a good bet to give out and for us to bet, all of us together right now in the CFL to win the Grey Cup, because I think that matchup near the end of the season will be in the West, Winnipeg versus BC. And I'll tell you what, as much as I'd like to see it, as much as I want to see an East team change things up this year and win the Grey Cup, I think that Grey Cup is staying out west in Western Canada, and I think it's going to be Winnipeg or BC. So if you're going to give me 4-1 on one of those 2 options, I'll take that all day long. So give me the BC Lions for a Grey Cup prediction here on the show in Week 8.
Love it. 4-1 winner to win the Grey Cup. I love it. We've got Formula 1 and NASCAR races this week. If you guys are looking for some props, a couple that you might look at is Daniel Ricciardo in the Formula 1 race to finish top 10. He's been awful all year, but he's finished 9th the last 2 races. So it seems like him and that team are kind of getting their act together. I would also look at maybe Fernando Alonso. Bets. He's really had a resurgence. That Alpine team is practicing and performing really well in the races. So their speed is doing well in practice, but it also has been translating well to the races. And then I'm nervous about the Red Bulls this week. Their strength is on the long stretches, and there's only one DRS zone, which means they're not going to get full capability. And last week Verstappen could not get around Leclerc. The only reason he won that race was because Leclerc wrecked himself while in the lead. Then he tried to blame it on the pedal, which was amazing. So it's like blaming the controller on a video game when you. So the team. What was funny, Andrew, is the team made him change his story. He had to do an interview at the end of the race, and he was like, "Yeah, that was my fault. It wasn't the pedal." I apologize.
Well, those guys always have an excuse, Andy. It seems like they never just say
funny,
it was a bad day. Have you ever heard someone just say it was a bad day out there?
You'll hear it in NASCAR, but definitely not in Formula 1. Formula 1 are all rich kids that are, in their early 20s that have the egos the size of Texas, who've been told they've never done anything wrong in their life. So whenever they mess up, it's got to be the car. It can't be that it can't be that, their brains haven't developed yet because they're less than 25 years old. Anyway, I digress. So be careful with the Red Bulls. I'm sure they'll have speed, but I'm not sure they're going to be competing for a win. I like the Ferraris. Unfortunately, Ferraris are just their own worst enemy this season, constantly messing up with reliability and bad pit strategy. So I'm high on Daniel Ricciardo, top 10. I like Fernando Alonso, and just look for some mistakes from Ferrari, but I don't think Red Bull's going to have the speed to keep up with them. So,
When does
Andrew,
that go off? When does that go down, Andy, this weekend?
well, they start practice. We're recording this Friday morning, so we got to get through practice and then qualifying. But the race is early Sunday morning, so
Okay.
we'll see.
I'm spending the
We'll see.
weekend with the in-laws, and my girlfriend's
Oh, nice.
brother loves F1, so I'll be
Oh,
watching it. So I'll be betting it. If I'm watching it, I'm betting it. So I'm definitely taking some notes here.
okay. All right. Yeah, we got to wait and see what happens with practice and qualifying. This is a qualifying I'm very interested in, because if
Okay.
Red Bull does not get out front early, they're going to have a really, really hard time passing anyone. So
I'll have to text you,
I-
and I'm just gonna pretend that I know everything that you're talking about. Like I'll just
if
be like sitting down on the couch with them and be like, "Did you know that this guy has
if
won X amount of races just out of nowhere?" So I'll have to get you to give me some tips here.
Well, I will tell you, I gave out for free on Life in the Fast Lane this week, Lewis Hamilton to finish on the podium. He's got 4 straight podium finishes, and all the Mercedes team is doing is just not making mistakes. They're letting everyone else around them, wreck themselves, or have the team accidentally tell them to pit when they shouldn't have, which actually happened last week. And Lewis Hamilton's ending up in second and third place, so you can get him at plus money to finish on the podium. I think their cars are good this week. Red Bull's not going to be that much faster than them. I think they can really compete. So yeah, my best bet on Life in the Fast Lane, which is up on WagerTalk YouTube channel if you want auto racing, is Hamilton for podium. So, and we got the NASCAR road race. It's actually about 7 miles away from my house this week, Andrew. They're racing at the
Cool.
Indianapolis 500 road course. So I do have a best bet that is already up for that one. So my word of warning is be careful about looking at last year's finishes here, Andrew. The track literally fell apart in the middle of the race. One of the curbs that they went over came up, and it took out like a bunch of the leaders.
Wow.
So when you're looking at these the finishes from last year, take it with a grain of salt. We had a little bit of a track issue. So before we get to the best bet here, Andrew, I do want to go over some UFC. We talked a little bit of it last week. Is there anything you really like about this card?
Honestly, Andy, I brought so you messaged me last night, and we were talking about what we wanted to discuss as far as props today, and I realized I was like, man, I probably shouldn't have told Andy I wanted to discuss some UFC props, because last week was kind of my UFC prop week. This week is mostly just sides and totals, I guess. But let's just real quick. I'll just say with the main event with Pena and Nunez here. Everybody's got an opinion on the fight. It's a small play for me, so I'll just say I've sprinkled a little bit on the plus money with Pena. But I will say this: look, I'm in the belief still that although it didn't work out for Nunez last time around, I think that the method of victory is coming out early and getting the job done. I truly believe the longer that fight goes on, it does not benefit Amanda. So I think it might be Sammy Square play, but I think that if you like Nunez, you should be grabbing that first round prop. I might look at Pena by sub, or last time. It's actually funny, Andy. I'm going to vent to you for a second. The last time these
Okay.
two fought at a really, really, really nice plus money. Think about what the odds were in general for the last time they fought. Okay, I took Pena by points.
Oh,
Think about that.
if you would have
And
had Pena by
it wasn't a
submission.
client play or anything like that. It was just me watching the fight with some buddies, like for really good plus money. We're all thought if she was going to win, that's how she would win. And so the fact that she won like that, we're all looking at each other like, you've got to be kidding me. None of us took the money line. We all took by the points, and that ends up happening. But are you with me as far as Amanda Nunez goes, where really I don't believe in people saying that her hunger isn't there anymore since she had a kid and all this and that, but I do think that getting it done early is definitely her way of winning this fight.
Yeah, I would say I would be stunned if this one goes the distance. I think unders is the way to go. I mean, I believe the rounds is they have it at 2.5. I would be surprised if because you're right. Nunez was tearing apart Pena in the first round. I mean, it was on its way to being finished, and then Nunez runs out of gas. I still have a lot of questions about that fight.
I love that expression because it gets thrown around all the time in the UFC. He's running out of gas.
Running out of gas. They just happen to have a really good. They just happen to have a TV program that they wanted to promote with those two that they just happened to announce right after the big upset. Anyway, the under is the way to go. I do think there's some pretty good ones. There's some pretty good props to play. I think there's some really good finishes, like the Jocelyn Edwards, Ji Young Kim. That one's going the distance. You can play that one to go the distance. Neither one of them are getting finished. The Drakkar Klose and Rafa Garcia, that should be a good one. That one's probably not going the distance with those guys' style of fights. And then I like the Ankalaev and Anthony Smith to actually go the distance. Ankalaev is a points fighter to me. Anthony Smith is a veteran. I think Anthony Smith is a live dog at that money. He's too smart of a fighter. I don't think he's going to let Ankalaev take him down and ground and pound him. So I think that's one. But as long as we're talking UFC, let's do our prop it up bet of the week here. We got to get going. So, all right, I'm going to stick with the UFC here, and this is I believe it might be the first fight, but it's definitely on the undercard. So make sure you get the bet in before the event starts. I'm going with Orion Kosi to win inside the distance against Blood Diamond. Listen, Blood Diamond is Andrew. He's awful. Blood Diamond is terrible. He is 3-1, and so he's here's his 3 wins. He beat a guy who is 0-1. Okay, so the guy fought once and then quit. His next win is against a guy who's 0-1. He fought once and quit. And his third win is against a guy who is, Andrew, 0-1. He fought once and quit. So Blood Diamond's 3 wins are against guys that fought him and then never fought again.
And if you want to talk about strength of schedule, the UFC is the biggest sport to look at it.
Absolutely. So I have Blood Diamond, who's 3-0 against guys that fight one time and then retire. He made his UFC debut, and Jeremiah Wells took him down and submitted him in the first round. Orion Kosi is a wrestler who's taller than Jeremiah Wells. Like Jeremiah Wells, it took Jeremiah Wells like a minute and a half or 2 minutes to get Blood Diamond down, but it's because he's shorter. Kosi is taller than Jeremiah Wells, and he's a wrestler and grappler. Kosi's going to push Blood Diamond against the fence. I don't think this gets out of the first round. I can't pick sub or TKO. I just know Blood Diamond's going down. Kosi will get him there and ragdoll him, and eventually will get him submitted, or he'll ground and pound, knock him out. So Kosi's minus 190 to win. I don't think you need to worry about that. I think you just take him to win inside the distance at plus 100. Wouldn't surprise me if this is the last time we see old Blood Diamond in the octagon in UFC. So that's the bet of the week. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for us. Andrew, great job. Don't forget to check out Andrew and myself on WagerTalk.com. Full day passes are the way to go for us today. We both have multiple plays. Andrew's going with CFL and MLB. I've got a UFC and MLB up. And don't forget to check out our own Matt Josephs on athlonsports.com. He's got all of his articles for college football. The amount of work that guy puts into those articles is truly special. And he's got a 5% football future that is up right now. So football's right around the corner, guys. Expect some college football content coming from Matt. Expect more NFL. And then, of course, like always, we'll keep pumping out CFL, UFC, Formula One, everything like that. So, Andrew, thanks for joining. Good luck on your 5% plays. Go grab a full day pass, or grab 2 of them. They're half price, guys, for the rest of July. Only $19.50. Get your full day pass with all those best bets. Let's have a great Friday. Let's get this weekend started off right. Andrew, I'll see you next week on another edition of Prop It Up.
With football around the corner, time to start building up that bankroll. And we want to help by slashing the cost of all daily picks packages priced at $25 or more, including 5% best bets through the end of July.
What?
This amazing promotion runs from Tuesday, July 12th to midnight on Sunday, July 31st, and drops the pricing down to $25 daily packages for $12.50.
Yeah, the shittiest
29
teams.
daily
I love
combo
it.
packages for
Yeah,
$14.50.
I love it.
And $35 5% best bets for $17.50.
What do you think?
But even better, this is the perfect time to take advantage of our one-day all-access pass.
Absolutely.
This package locks in the handicapper of your choice for one whole day for only $39, including when they have a 5% top play that usually sells for $35.
I like
But
Arizona.
during our 50% slash promotion, you get a one-day all-access for only $19.50. We know this business is loaded with competitors and copycats, and we are very proud and extremely excited to be one of, if not the premier sports betting information provider in North America. Our special discount pricing goes live on Tuesday, runs through the end of the month, does not require a coupon, and is available just by going to your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo Handicappers homepage right now.
Props cash. No, I'll look it up. Okay. Prop.cash.